Well, I used to work at the Board of Education in Richmond, Virginia, in men's work. I was the head of men's work for the denomination. And right next to my office was Dr. Malcolm Calhoun, who was the head of the church's effort in Christian Action. And he came over to me in the spring of '65, just walked around a little wall there, and he said, "Andy, I'm going to Dr. King's office in Atlanta to invite him to come to Montreat for our Christian Action Conference, and I need somebody to go with me. I want you to go with me, because men's work is going to be very significant in the promotion of Martin Luther King being at Montreat." So I said, okay. So we went to Atlanta, knocked on Dr. King's door, and this young fellow named Andrew Young answered the door and said, "Come in, fellas, come in." And he said, "You're Andy Andrews?" And I said, "Yes, sir." "And you're Andy Young?" He said, "That's right." Well, he said, "Before we get started, I've got a question for you. Does Montreat still prevent blacks from swimming in Lake Susan?" I said, "Well, no, I don't know. I don't work there, and I don't know." Well, he said, "They didn't let blacks swim in Lake Susan when I was a member of General Assembly's Youth Council. All the council decided if they don't let you swim, we're not going to swim." So we went over to Warren Wilson College and swim in their swimming pool. That was my introduction. Now, Dr. King was not available to speak to us or to hear our invitation. He was working on a speech to be delivered somewhere in Switzerland that weekend for a peace award that he was getting. So he didn't have time to talk to us. He was busy with the speech, but Andrew Young promised us, "You tell me what you want, I'll relate it to Dr. King, and we'll be back to you within 2 days." So Dr. Calhoun told him about our effort in the conference on Christian Action. He said it's the first conference, the only conference that whole summer that has anything to do specifically with Christian action, all kinds of Christian action. And Andrew Young was very interested in that. And he said, he wrote down some notes. He said, "I will share this with Dr. King." Well, the next day, we heard from Dr. King that he was going to come to Montreat. He was going to accept our invitation. And that was an exciting thing for us. And of course, that summer, I came to Montreat just to hear Dr. King. But I was so interested in everything that was going on around us, I couldn't tell you what he said. But I'm sure he made a good speech. The auditorium was almost full, almost 2,000 people. And we heard the sirens. I was standing on the steps with Dr. Calhoun, the closest steps to the back of the auditorium, back of the stage. And we heard the sirens, and then we saw the flashing lights, three state highway patrolmen leading a car with Dr. King, and one state highwayman behind him. And the parking lot had been cleared, and they all drove up, and he got out and came up the steps, greeted Dr. Calhoun, introduced himself, and the two of them went behind the curtain on the stage, and I went in the auditorium. And so that's the way that started. And I thought it was interesting that a state highway patrolman, a black patrolman, was on both sides of the stage when Dr. King spoke. No, one of them was black and one was white. And I remember the white policeman said to me afterward, I didn't have no idea that I would ever be protecting a black man to speak. That was an interesting comment from a state highway patrolman who had been assigned to stay on that stage.